During COVID, I think a lot of creatives in general were reminded of their passion or reminded of why they started, because everybody from the DJs to the artists to the dancers to the painters to any creative in general had to really sit there and say, do I still want to do this, knowing that I'm not going to make what I used to make.
Wow, this draft. Wow.
Welcome to Teachsimple Podcast. We focus on providing simple solutions in the classroom. I am blessed to have DJ Kelly J with the brother man right now. How you doing today? What's up?
I'm good, bro. How are you?
Hey, thank you so much for blessing me on the podcast. What's up? How you doing today?
I am good. I'm good. We're getting a little bit of sun right now before it goes down, so it's all
Absolutely.
good.
And if you're on the East Coast or Midwest, we know it's dark, so we know that she's obviously somewhere else. She's currently stationed in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Yep.
Yep, where she is just the social media coordinator for KEP Power 88. She's a DJ, a master DJ. She's one of the 4 elements of hip hop, which I think is the most important, but that's another story. She controls frequencies. She can tell you what a frequency is. She probably sees colors when she's DJing. All that cool stuff that you musicians do, she definitely can do that and still be herself. I love it. If the party's whack, she has the control to just turn it up. I really appreciate you coming on the podcast. How you doing today, Miss Kelly?
I am good. Thank you for the introduction, Calvin.
You deserve it. You deserve it. Absolutely.
Thank you again for having me. Like it was really dope just connecting with you and seeing how much you're doing in the city. So thank you for real.
Well, absolutely. There's a lot of knowledge going on in these spaces that we're on, Clubhouse, social media. Let's streamline it to some people that need it. So so let's talk about it. So in the Teachsimple podcast, we always try to start off with like a teacher tip of the week, and you don't have to be an expert at being a teacher, but you did have teachers before, and I kind of want you to give a tip based off of just what you know. Okay, so I'm gonna give you some data, and then I want you to give your tip. Okay, so currently right now, 40% of teachers are saying that they don't want to return to the classroom. 1% of teachers are African American males. 70% of teachers are majority white females. And nothing's wrong with that, but what's happening is that a lack of culture, especially doing racism, especially doing George Floyd, especially doing everything that's happening, especially what just happened yesterday. A lot of things have just been, just killing people's spirits, and teachers' spirits have just been abused and used. We have teachers that are catching COVID because they're teaching kids that are asymptomatic. We have teachers that are just retiring because they don't believe that the policies that are put in place that are going to protect them, so they can protect the future's minds, so we can have better leaders. Knowing all of that, I'll give my tip, and I want to definitely hear from you. But teachers, you got to be a self-advocate. You got to speak up for yourself. The biggest thing you have are numbers. So speak up. And the situation might not change, unfortunately, because that's how the world works. The world's unfair. But that speaking up, that self-advocacy, you will feel better. You will feel less stressed. You will feel like you're not being used and abused. Speak up. And think other people that speak up, you might actually change some stuff. What about you, Ms. Kelly? Some advice you got to give to some teachers?
I would honestly, the advice that I would have would be to the parents, and that's just to be a little bit more involved and communicate more with the teachers. Like, teachers are already underpaid. As a society, they're undervalued, and our kids are with them the majority of the day. They spend a big chunk of their lives in school, and for parents to kind of just completely disconnect, even though I understand the need to, parents can't completely disconnect, and they need to work with the teachers. They need to communicate with the teachers to not only alleviate some of that stress that the teachers are going through, but to make sure that their children are getting the education that they're expecting them to get. Like, it can't just completely be on the teachers to do that. And I think society's kind of just driving the parents further and further away from education, and the parents are just like, here, okay, this is your turn type of thing. And it's not supposed to be like that.
Absolutely, right? It's like you're just giving someone, literally parents had to become educators, right? Y'all literally had to become teachers within a matter of 1 or 2 weeks, because
Yeah,
shutdown literally just happened. Could you maybe talk about that? And then I want to just talk about what's it like being a DJ during COVID. What has that plight as being homeschooling? What has that plight been like?
well, so my daughter's 2. She's actually right there. My daughter's 2. She turns 3 in February, and honestly, like, I always planned on homeschooling my daughter. Like, that's what I'm doing. So, and it's nothing against teachers, but it's because I know that our schools are already overcrowded. I know that they're not getting paid enough. So I think if a parent can and is willing to homeschool their child, just to try to even some of this, even some of the numbers out, and like, if they can do it, then they should. And I just took it upon myself to try. So her schedule is actually the same as it's been, but I think COVID happened at an interesting time, and a lot of parents are seeing really what it takes for our kids to learn and for them to progress. And now I'm hoping that when things go back to normal, or when the new normal is defined,
Right.
that teachers get the value and the credit and the pay that they deserve.
Man, that feels so good just hearing that from a parent. And thank you so much. We really appreciate that. Thank you. So one thing we like to do, and I'm sure you know, is we like to give like call and responses during Teachsimple podcast, or we like to just give affirmations during Teachsimple podcast. So whenever you say something that's thought provoking, whenever you do something that's just like, oh my gosh, we like to give praise. So first one is a snap, golf clap, and then raise the roof. So the raise the roof is like if you say something that's like, okay, then you can raise the roof, all right? Hey, that's how I talk to my kids. I'd be like, all right, we raise the roof, y'all. Then you raise the roof with me with the cameras off.
Bringing it back. I love it.
Yeah. So let's talk about it, man. Let's talk about it. So you are a DJ. You are part of the 4 elements of hip hop. You are literally a box of that. This whole thing that we love so much, that we love so much, right? Music. So you did hip hop, top 40, EDM, house, R&B, reggae. You are a
Afrobeat.
master. You are on boards. If a DJ were to pop up for 2021, your picture would show up. So what's it like being a DJ during COVID, and why DJing?
Oh, during COVID, I think a lot of creatives in general were reminded of their passion, or reminded of why they started, because everybody, from the DJs to the artists to the dancers to the painters to any creative in general, had to really sit there and say, do I still want to do this, knowing that I'm not going to make what I used to make, or knowing that things won't be the same, and I won't have that human interaction. And we need human interaction. Like, most DJs need human interaction. Like, it's how we work. We read people, and we see people, and we figure out, okay, if I play this song, they'll do this. If I play this song, they'll go to the bar. So it's like, not, radio's a little different, but it's like not having that human interaction. We're like, okay, do I even still want to do this? Like, is it still in my heart to do this? And I was reminded of that. Like, I took a very short break when the lockdowns happened, and it was probably like 2.5 weeks where I didn't do anything. I just reset my mind. I did some yoga, played with my daughter, and then it was like, okay, yeah, I still want to do this. It's go time. It's grind time. So I went back into how I started, and it made me around that time that the lockdowns happened, it made me go back to listening to local artists, because the Las Vegas scene is why I started DJing. So Detroit radio, WJLB specifically, was in my heart my entire childhood. Like I was a heavy listener. I listened to the morning show all the time. I personally know Bushman, and I actually just found out. I just reached out to gosh, what's his name? I can't remember his name, but like Coco and Foolish, like I listened to them growing up. And Big Tigger, that's who it was. Big Tigger's a core DJ, and I'm a core DJ. So it's full circle for me. It's full circle for me. But yeah, so that was in my heart. But the Las Vegas hip hop culture and wanting to push the artists out here is what got me into DJing. Like I had an internship out here in Las Vegas right out of high school before I started nursing school, and that internship brought everything back. So I'm thinking about WJLB, and I'm thinking about these local artists, and I was like, yeah, what can I do to help them? What can I do to make people feel good? What can I do to kind of to bring back those memories I had in Detroit and help these artists out here in Las Vegas? And I was like, yeah, I want to be a
Wow, this is your ass. Wow.